Yeah, hi there. In this tutorial, we are going to cover time series forecast errors. So, what is a forecast error? So, basically, forecast error is the difference between the actual or the real value versus what is the predicted or the forecasted value by the time series model. So, in simple way, there is the actual value and there is the predicted or the forecasted value by the model. So, the difference between the two is the forecast error. The smaller the difference, it means the more better our forecast is, or the more accurate or more realistic our forecast is. And the larger the difference, it means uh, our forecast model is not predicting closer to the reality, it is way off from the reality. So, forecast errors they help to identify whether a certain forecast should be usable or not. So, if the forecast error is very high, then we better not use that model, and because there is no point in forecasting something which is having a high error. Let's say we have a couple of models, okay, forecasting models, and they have made a forecast. So based on, if we have to do the comparison between the models and need to pick one, then we would obviously pick that model which is having the least forecast error. So what are the different types of forecast error? The first is the mean forecast error, also known as the forecast bias. Let's say y1, y2, y3, yn, they represent values in the time series. And yi hat, so which is yi hat, I is the subscript and hat is yi hat represents the predicted value. So this is the yi hat is the ith forecasted value. Then the error ei equals to yi minus yi hat, where yi is the real value or the actual value and yi hat is the predicted value. So the difference between the two, that is yi and yi hat, is the ith error. So that is, this is the error for the ith term. Now, if we calculate all such errors, that is, let's say if we have n terms, okay, where then we calculate all such errors. So ei, that is I equals to 1 to n, and we sum all these, and then we take the average. Then what we get is the mean forecast error. So the point to note is we are subtracting the forecasted value from the actual value, and whatever the difference come, we are taking that difference along with the sign, okay, and then we are adding it up all and taking the average or the mean. Whatever we get is the mean forecast error. Okay, so a mean forecast error value, so other than zero, let's say if it is zero, it means uh, it could be the values positive and negative have cancelled out. So if it is not zero, and if it is a positive value, it means that we have done a um, under forecast, and if it is a negative value, then it means we have done a over forecast. So it will come negative only if our forecasted value is greater than the actual value. It means we are doing the over forecast, then it will come negative. And if we are under forecasting, then obviously yi hat will be smaller than the yi, and it will be a positive error, that is we are doing under forecast. So another error term, another error is mean absolute error, MAE. So the only difference is, instead of taking the actual difference between the ac- real value and the forecasted value, what we do is we take the modulus. That is, we take the modulus of the error. So we ignore the sign. Basically, we are mainly interested only in the difference, and then whatever the difference comes, we just sum it up and take the average. So what we get is the MAE, which is the mean absolute error. So what it tells, MAE, it tells that on an average how much our forecast are of the actual values. So since in MFE, that is the mean forecast error, it actually cancel out the overestimated and the underestimated forecast. Hence MAE, that is the mean absolute error, it is a better measurement, and it makes more sense to 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 calculate rather than the mean forecast error. because you want from your model you want to see how much your values are of the actual values on either direction. You would not want that one direction value should cancel out the other direction value. You would want to see how accurate it is, and if it is off either in either direction, positive or negative, you would want to take that off value into consideration. So in that sense, this mean absolute error makes more sensible than the mean forecast error. The next we have is the mean absolute percentage error. So, okay, we have calculated the MAE. Now, the problem with MAE is that when we get a value, we don't know how, whether it's whether the value represents a high error value or low error value, because we don't have anything to compare against it. Say if you get MAE as 1.5, then with that number only we cannot tell whether it's a high MAE, that is high mean absolute error, or a small mean absolute error, because it's just a number. Okay, we don't have anything to compare with it. So if your original values are in unit digits, then MAE 1.5 is actually a high number. But if your original values, I mean the original value and the predicted values are high in units, in thousands or 10,000s, then MAE 1.5 definitely represents a good forecast and it's a small number. So we definitely need something to compare. So for that purpose, we have got another formula which is mean absolute percentage error. So what we do, we take the percentage of the error with respect to the original value. So what we do is, so if you see, it is EI absolute value. So again, EI is the error term and we are taking the absolute value, that is the modulus, and then we are dividing it by the actual value, which is YI, and whatever value comes we just we do this for all the uh, error terms, and then we sum it up, and then to find out the percentage, we multiply it by 100 and divide by n to get the mean absolute percentage error. Now next error term is the mean squared error. So what happens in the mean squared error, we just take the error term, we square it, and for all such error terms we just sum it up and take the mean. So that becomes the mean squared error. Now the thing with mean squared error is that the values which are off from the actual values, you know after the square they become larger values. So this has an effect of putting more weight on the larger errors. Now the problem with this error model is that because it's a square, so we are just squaring the unit. So the better approach is we take the root mean squared error. So that is the same thing as the mean squared error, but what we are doing is we are just taking the square root of the final value that we got from this mean squared error. So if we do the square root, then whatever we get is the root mean squared error. So what I'm doing is I'm just uh, now loading the NumPys and Pandas libraries modules, reading the data, airline traffic, again like we did in the previous sessions, just setting the column and headers as month and passengers. Month I'm converting it into date time. I'm setting the index as the month, and whatever the missing values are there in the number of passengers, I'm just interpolating it using the linear interpolate method, and converting the data type of passengers column to the integer. After that, just splitting the data into train and test. So 0 to 120 index will go into train. So 120 is basically, it will go from 0 to 119 because 120th would be exclusive, and 120th index onwards would go into the test data frame. Now again, we are using the nav method. As we know, in the nav method, what it does, it uh, says that the future values would be the last observed value. That is, the last observed value what we have is, so is the last value in the train data set. So before that, I'm just because we have to do the prediction for the test data set, so I'm creating a copy of test, storing it in y hat nav, and in that data frame I'm adding another column which is naive forecast. So as per the definition of the naive method, so the forecasted value would be the last observed value in the train data set. So the train data set -1 indicates the last value and just taking the value, so 0th index. So this is how it is. So the last observed value in the train data set was 337. This is the forecasted value for each of the values of the test data set. Now what we have to do, we have to calculate the different error methods that we had seen above and see how these turn up. So first was mean forecast error. That is, we have to we have to subtract the forecasted value from the actual value. So that is stored in the uh, object error, and we just sum it up and divide it by the total number of elements. Then what we get is the mean error, mean forecast error, MFE. Another is the mean absolute error, MAE. So the difference we have to take, and then we take the absolute value. So that gets stored in the object ABS underscore error. Then we sum it up and again take it divided by the number of observations, and then what we get is the MAE. So we are storing it in the object MAE. Now another is the MAPE, which is basically mean absolute percentage error. So what we have to do, we have to divide each error, that is each absolute error, by the actual value of the passengers, and then whatever comes we have to sum it up and then multiply it by 100 and divide by the total number of observations, so to get the mean value. Now root mean square error is basically whatever error is coming, we have to just square it and take the mean by dividing it by the number of observation, and then the final value we take the square root, so that what we get is the RMSE, which is root mean squared error. So if you see, we based on this naive method, we get these are the statistics. MFE is 115, MAE is also 115, MAPE is 23, and RMSE is 137. Okay, now let's say this was the one model. Now, if we have to choose between naive method and the simple average method, so what we do again for the simple average method, we will first calculate the forecast value. So because we have to do forecasting on the test for the test data set, so we'll create a copy of test data set into an object y hat average. In that, adding the simple average column. So as you know, as per the simple average method, the forecasted value is nothing but the value that we have of the average value that we take. Okay, what one correction I did, basically by mistake, I took the mean of test passenger. So actually it should be train passenger, because ultimately we have to take the mean of the values that had happened in the past, that is the historical mean here. So train dot passengers mean we have to take, and this is as per the simple average method, the forecast value would be the mean of the values that are already we have seen historically. So that becomes a forecast value, and if I put it again in this data frame, then we say this is the actual value and this is the forecast value. Now we are calculating the error terms, the same error term. First is the mean forecast error, the next is the mean absolute error, the next is the mean absolute percentage error, and then the final is the root mean squared error. Now we are getting the values as 206, 206. If I compare this simple average method with the previous method that we did, naive method. So yeah, okay, here we have MFE and MAE were coming as 115, but as per the simple average method, this is coming as 206. So it means the error has increased. Now let's compare MAPE and RMSE. So MAPE was 23 and RMSE was 137. So MAPE is 44 and RMSE is 299. So if you see, all these error terms have increased for the simple average method compared to the naive method. So it means if I have to pick one model between these two given a choice, then obviously I'll pick the naive method, because that has lesser error values compared to the simple average method. So in this way, we can use the error terms basically to decide which of the given models is more closer to the reality, that is more closer to the actual values, and then we can pick that model. So that's it in this tutorial. We'll cover more in the next one. Thank you.